My mom left me for her affair partner, so I gave them Karenina for their anniversary and shattered their perfect family act. I'm 16 and I love my mom, 35, but when I was 10, she had an affair and left my dad and me. For a while after that I visited her whenever I could. She always seemed genuinely happy when I came over, like she missed me, but I hated being around her new family. Eventually, I stopped going as much. After that, we barely saw each other except for my birthday or bigger family events. My mom keeps saying she wants us to be close again, but I want nothing to do with her new husband, so I've kept my distance from all of them. Then on February 20th, my dad told me he had to leave for a business trip until the 12th. My grandparents were stuck in Italy visiting relatives, which meant I really didn't have anywhere else to stay. My mom immediately offered to have me stay at her house, and she seemed excited about it. Of course my luck is terrible, because her anniversary with her husband was that Sunday. I haven't enjoyed being here at all. Most of the time I stay in my room doing homework, or I go out with friends whenever I can. I do it to avoid the family activities because it hurts too much watching my mom act all lovey-dovey with her husband while they play this perfect family role with their daughters. It feels like I'm watching the life she chose after she left mine. The morning before their anniversary, my mom came into my room and tried to cuddle with me the way she used to before she left us. That just made me angry. We can't go back in time and act like everything is how it used to be. So I pretended to be asleep. I stayed curled up, completely still, until she finally left. After she was gone, I started crying. I felt angry, hurt, and honestly kind of bitter. My mom majored in literature, so when it came time to get her an anniversary gift, I bought her a copy of Anna Karenina. It's about a woman who leaves her husband and son for her lover. I've never read it, but I watched the movie with my girlfriend once and hated it. Their anniversary party was on Sunday. Everyone else seemed to be having fun except me. Eventually people started giving them their gifts. When I handed mine over and my mom saw the book, she looked completely shocked, but she just said thank you. The party ended about an hour later. That night when she was in her room with her husband, I heard her crying really loudly. I listened for a little while and heard her talking about the book and about me. Her husband was trying to calm her down, but she sounded devastated. The next morning, she left for work before I woke up. At breakfast, her husband directly called me an asshole and said other things about how cruel it was to give them that book. It's been a few days now, and my mom has barely spoken to me. I feel awful that I made her cry. I really do, but at the same time, I don't want to be here and she knows exactly why. I don't know if that makes what I did worse, but I'm so tired of feeling like I'm supposed to accept the family she built after leaving us. Update 1. The day after everything happened, I let my girlfriend read what I had written. She looked at me and told me to stay with her, calling me a dummy in the way she does when she is trying to make me feel better. I also told my dad. He said I could stay with him, and he emailed my girlfriend's mom about it. When I was at my mom's house, I told her too. She got really sad, but she said okay. She agreed to drive me and sent an email as well. Even after that, I still wanted to talk to my mom alone. I had been thinking about it for a while, and my school counselor had helped me write a letter to read to her because I knew I might not be able to say everything out loud. While she was driving me, I kept trying to bring it up, but I completely froze. I could not get the words out. She eventually pulled into a parking lot and started talking first. She said a lot about the book and about how she still sees me as her baby. She talked about how she was not actually happy, and about everything that had happened between us. In the end, she told me that it was okay if I hated her for what she did because she had hurt me. She said she would never pressure me to see her as my mom again, but if I ever wanted her, she would always be there for me. But I do not hate her. I love her. I started crying really badly. I have never had a breakdown before, but I think that was what it was. I remember her taking me into the back seat and holding me while I cried. I kept trying to tell her that I loved her, but most of it is a blur now. She calmed me down enough for me to explain how I felt. I told her that I did want her to be my mom. I told her that I hated her husband, not her. I told her I did not want a train to hit her. I even told her about the time she tried to cuddle with me and how bad I felt about it now, because I thought that would never happen again since I was never going back to her house. She told me she knew I had been awake that night and knew I was mad at her. That made me start crying all over again. She told me it was okay, that she was wrong, and we talked for a long time. I kept crying until my head started hurting, so she got me some Advil. She seemed really sad that I hated her husband, but when I told her all the mean things he had said to me, she got really mad at him. She promised that she would never let him come between us again. She said she would take me to therapy with just her, no matter what my dad said, and that she wanted to spend time alone with me. After that, she dropped me off. I felt better after talking to her, and I stayed there until my dad came back. My dad promised he would never send me back to that house again. He said I could stay with my girlfriend if my grandparents stayed in Italy. He also agreed to let me do family therapy with my mom, although he said he would make sure it was appropriate. We have not started therapy yet, but my mom has kept her promise to spend time with me. It really does make me happier. Things are still not perfect, but I think they are getting better. Update 2. My dad never wanted me to stop seeing my mom, and he has never tried to turn me against her. He always believed a boy needed his mom. At the same time, he knew how much being around her husband hurt me, and he never forced me to go when I didn't want to. My mom also never pushed me to do anything without her family there. I think my dad believed this time would be different because I had nowhere else to go. As for whether I would still hate my stepdad if my mom had left my dad before cheating on him, I honestly think I probably would. If he treated me the same way he has always treated me, then the circumstances of how he came into our lives would not have changed how I feel about him. My mom did tell me she had not been happy. I still don't completely understand whether she meant she was unhappy in her marriage, unhappy with her life in general, or something else entirely. I just know that hearing that made everything feel even more complicated between us. Update 3. I'm writing this during a break at school, so I won't be able to say much more until later, but a lot has happened. I've been going to therapy with my mom every Friday. On Saturdays and Sundays, we spend time together, just the two of us. The first weekend she took me to see Batman, and the next day we went to Boston Pizza. Since then we've mostly gone for walks, hikes, or shopping trips. I actually like that, because it gives us so much time to talk without anyone rushing us. We also FaceTime every day. It honestly feels like I've gotten my mom back, and that was all I really wanted. The best part is our hugs. Now, when we hug, it feels like we're really hugging each other. Before, I used to do it because I felt like I had to, but now it feels different. It feels important. I don't know how else to explain it, but I feel really happy lately in a way I didn't before. It's like something had been missing from me for a long time. Even my girlfriend has noticed and said I seem much happier now. Therapy has been really strange though. It isn't anything like I expected it to be. Before our first session, my dad spoke to the psychologist alone for about half an hour. It honestly sounded like he was interrogating her before he would let me and my mom go in. Once the session started, the psychologist focused a lot on that book and why it made my mom cry. Since then the sessions have been emotional. I end up crying a lot, so my mom always brings a bottle of Gatorade for me. She cries too, but she tries really hard to hide it. When the therapist asked her why, my mom said she didn't want her crying to affect what I said or change how I was feeling. I still don't feel comfortable going to therapy alone. The therapist has suggested it and my mom said she would take me whenever I was ready. She's also going to start going on her own, but I'm not ready to have sessions without her yet. During one of the sessions I told my mom that I was scared she was only doing all of this because she wanted to bring me into her family. I told her I worried that, once she understood it was never going to happen, she would choose her husband again and leave me for good. That made her cry harder than I'd ever seen before. She couldn't hide it anymore. She said she was finally starting to understand that I don't trust her, and that I might never trust her again. She knew it was her fault. She promised me again that I would never have to see her husband. She said she would only bring her daughters around when I wanted her to, and that she would never let him stop her from coming to my graduations or my wedding. When she finally calmed down a little, she said the only time I would ever have to deal with him would be at her funeral. I don't want to think about that part. I don't want to say too much about everything that happens in therapy, but that felt important to share because it's been a huge part of what has changed between us. Easter was probably the best holiday I've had in a long time, even though I didn't really go anywhere. My mom's husband took their kids to visit his parents, and she stayed behind. We spent so much time together that weekend that for part of it, I felt like a little kid again. I also got to properly introduce my mom to my girlfriend, and my girlfriend's mom. We all had Easter dinner together. My mom made the turkey, and it was amazing. I didn't realize how much I missed her cooking until I tasted it. It tasted exactly the way it did when I was little. That weekend, I finally admitted to her that my grandparents aren't coming back from Italy. That was why I'd been feeling so down recently. I also told her that my dad and his fiancée are moving to Catania after I graduate, and they're planning to stay there. I'll probably go to university in Catania or Palermo too. My mom was sad when I told her. She admitted that she didn't want me to go, because I would be moving away next summer, and that really isn't far away anymore. She knows she probably wouldn't get to see me in person very often, but she also said she would support me, no matter what I decide. A lot of our therapy sessions since then have been focused on me going to university there and what it means for my future. Yesterday was Mother's Day. Her husband went to see his parents again, and my mom and I had already planned to go to a restaurant called Cactus Club together. I didn't know whether he was taking their kids with him. If he wasn't, I knew I would feel bad if they didn't get to celebrate Mother's Day with her too, so I told her she could bring them. I don't know the girls very well, but it was still a good time. My mom brought her camera because she hates using the camera on her phone. At the end of dinner, she asked our waitress to take a picture of all of us together. I had the waitress take the photos again using my phone too, so I could send them to my mom and she could keep them on her phone. It felt nice, not perfect or simple, but nice. Update 4. My exams are finally over, and summer break has started. The best part is that I got into advanced placement English. My teacher gave us 2 book lists because he wants us reading over the summer so we are ready when school starts again. The first list has books like Wuthering Heights, The Great Gatsby, Moby Dick, and Frankenstein. He said we really need to read those ones because we will have to choose 2 of them later for essays and other assignments. The second list is huge, mostly books he recommends if we want to be more prepared. Of course, Anna Karenina was on that list too. My girlfriend saw it and immediately said, "Well, good thing you already bought that one." Since my mom knows most of those books, I handed her both lists before we went to therapy. She agreed to take me to Indigo or maybe some older bookstores, so we could find good editions, especially since a few of them are translated from other languages, and apparently the translation can make a big difference. I still do not feel comfortable going to therapy without my mom there. I do not know why exactly, but I honestly do not think I would be able to speak up if she was not beside me. She has been encouraging me to try doing a session alone, and she has even done a few of her own sessions alone through Teams, but I just cannot make myself do it yet. If I went alone and started crying, I would not want the therapist to hug me. And if I did it from home, I would not want my dad or his fiancée hearing me and asking what was wrong. My dad still does not like that I am in therapy. He had a really big fight with his fiancée about it because when her niece and nephew move in, she wants to send them to therapy too. My dad kept saying they should not have to go because they cannot speak English, and he is scared it could turn out the way it did for him when he was a kid and had to go without understanding the language. Somehow I got pulled into the argument, and my mom ended up getting called. She threatened to use the custody agreement to make it completely clear that I would still be going to therapy with her. Afterward, my dad apologized to me. He said he would try to be more supportive and work on getting over being scared about it. I want to believe him. I think he means it, even if he is still struggling with all of this. My mom bought me The Great Gatsby, Moby Dick, and Frankenstein. She said Wuthering Heights would probably bore me to death. From the bigger list, she also got me The Count of Monte Cristo, A Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectations, and Catch-22 Then she gave me back the copy of Anna Karenina that I had originally given her. She said she would like me to read it because it might help me understand why that book hurt her so much. But she also told me that if it becomes too much, I can just hand it back to her and stop. I guess I can try. I saw the movie, so I keep thinking, how bad can the book really be? My mom also told me she wants to take me somewhere in August. She said that if I move to Italy with everyone next summer, we might never get a real vacation together again. I do not know if I want to go, but I know it means a lot to her, so maybe I will. I think I am mostly scared that her husband will somehow end up coming too, even though she promised me he will not. Update 5. I didn't think I would be writing again so soon, but I felt like getting some things out, so here I am. I started working through the summer reading list. The first book I picked was Frankenstein because it was the one I was most excited about, and it absolutely did not disappoint. I liked it so much, I felt terrible for Frankenstein, because his brother's nanny, and his wife did not deserve to die just because he was selfish. It made sense that he was supposed to be a modern Prometheus, because he could never be as good as Prometheus when he lives in a more modern world. My girlfriend and I also watched the Robert De Niro movie together. It was really good too, but still not as good as the book. I read The Great Gatsby after that. It was good, just not as good as Frankenstein. I have started Moby Dick now too. As for Anna Karenina, I have only read the first part so far, but I already like it better than the movie. Anna is not even really the main character, at least not yet. There is this guy named Levin, and he is much more interesting to me. He is smart even though he is basically a simple farmer. I like all the thinking he does, because it makes him seem like a real person, even if the author writes dialogue and thoughts in a way that nobody would actually talk or think. What surprised me most is how modern the book feels. There are obviously things that make it clear it takes place in the past, like receiving guests formally, telegrams, and having to know how to start a fireplace. But then there's stuff like working in an office, Levin managing a farm, a public skating rink, people casually having coffee in the morning, or going to a restaurant and ordering food. It feels almost like modern life sometimes. I know it was probably not like that for poor people, and basically everyone in the book is rich. Some of the characters even know the emperor. But it kind of feels like being rich in Russia in the 1800s was similar to being rich today, except women had fewer rights. I do not like the Anna parts much though, and I hate Vronsky, the guy she leaves her family for in the movie. I also cannot stop thinking about the stupid actor who played him in the movie. I hate that actor. He is so lame, and he is lame in everything I have seen him in, but somehow he is in everything too. Vronsky is such a shitty person. He goes to brothels, then tricks Kitty, the girl Levin loves, into thinking he might marry her just so he can sleep with her. He acts like he loves his mother even though she is a hoe, and then when he meets Anna, the first thing he hears about her is how much she loves her son, but he immediately starts trying to get with her anyway. That makes me angry. He knows she has a kid, and he still thinks it is all right to go after her. He is not even written like a person who could really exist, he is just awful. The weirdest part is the ball. When Vronsky and Anna dance, the author writes it from Kitty's perspective, so we see her getting humiliated. But it is also supposed to show Anna and Vronsky falling in love. Then the chapters after that are from Anna's perspective, but the author does not really explain why they acted that way. It just says Anna is attracted to him and ashamed, while Vronsky is in love. I hate Vronsky. When Anna sees him after the ball, she tells him no twice, but he keeps pursuing her. We have assemblies at school about how girls do not like guys who refuse to take no for an answer, but the author writes it like Anna does like it. He is such a stupid character, I hate him so much, and it is even worse because he is played by the stupidest actor ever in that stupid movie. Then it is like meeting Vronsky changes Anna so much that she suddenly does not find her son as wonderful as she imagined before, even though he is still supposed to be the best thing in the world to her. And Anna's husband is not even bad, he can be sarcastic, but he is not cheating on her. He trusts her, and the author says they love each other. I actually got into an argument with my mom about it. She said that if I think Levin is the main character, then Kitty is just as important. She said I would eventually understand why the author needed to show the ball from Kitty's perspective, and that it also shows the effect Anna's actions have on other people. But I kept saying that it seemed like the author needed Anna and Vronsky to fall in love, but it was too hard to write it from Anna's perspective. So instead he showed Kitty watching them and basically told us they fell in love. Then left it to us to imagine why it happened. The argument got intense enough that we brought it into therapy. My mom would not accept that I do not think the author is as good as she thinks he is. My therapist said I might be projecting people from my own life onto the characters in the book, that ended up leading into stuff about my dad not wanting me to go to therapy. A few days before Canada Day, my dad's fiance's niece and nephew moved in with us. It has been weird having them around. They love the Canada Day parade, but most of the time they are quiet, and they cry a lot. Sometimes Julia, my dad's fiancée, has to sleep with both of them. I have tried to be nice and be their friend. I let them play on my PlayStation, and I have played poker and basketball with them. I think they like my girlfriend more than they like me though. I think they might believe she is famous or something. It is hard because they do not know much English yet, even though they have been seeing a tutor. When we speak Italian, I honestly do not understand half of what they are saying because of their accent. And when they speak Sicilian, I understand absolutely nothing. I brought them up once in therapy, but my mom seemed kind of sad. I think it is because I do not really know her kids at all. Since then, I have not really talked about them much. Therapy has been strange in other ways too. My dad made Julia promise that she would not let the kids go to therapy alone. He seemed really scared about it, and he acts weird whenever they have an appointment. He has gotten into a few arguments with Julia about it, but she always shuts him down. One time she even called my grandparents. Now, every time I leave for therapy with my mom or come back afterward, my dad hugs me really tightly. He asks how much longer I have to go and whether I can stop soon. One time when I came home, I think he had been crying, but he tried to hide it from me. My mom told me to tell her if he ever says anything again about trying to stop me from going. The biggest thing right now is that my mom will not be working for the first 2 weeks of August. She said she could take me on a trip, just the two of us, to Kelowna or Kamloops or somewhere like that. It has to be during those first 2 weeks because after that she has to start getting ready for school to reopen. But my dad's fiancée is going back to Italy at the beginning of August because of things related to her sister's will. She asked if I wanted to go with her. She said she would show me the University of Palermo and the University of Catania, and that I could meet with advisors there. I would also get to see my grandparents. When I told my mom, she got really sad. I felt like she wanted to cry. She said she really wanted me to stay so we could have one last vacation together. She said it a lot of different ways all weekend, and she kept making sure I knew her husband would not be coming with us. I do not want to let her down, especially when she clearly wants that time with me, but I really want to see my grandparents too. And getting to visit the universities in Italy sounds important. I honestly do not know what I'm supposed to choose. Update 6. 1. There are a few things I need to be honest about, because looking back on the way I used to tell parts of this story makes me cringe now. I lied about some things in my older posts because, I guess I thought they made me sound cooler than I actually was. At one point I said I couldn't understand my stepmother's niece and nephew when they spoke Italian. That wasn't true. I could understand them perfectly fine when they spoke Italian. I only struggled when they spoke Sicilian. I honestly have no idea why I made it sound different. The other thing I noticed when I reread everything is how often I said I never spoke to my mom's husband. I made it seem like I gave him the silent treatment every time I was around him. That was also a lie, and I think I wrote it because I thought it made me seem tough or like some kind of badass. It just looks embarrassing now. The truth is that he was always friendly to me. I was the one who acted like a dick to him because I hated him for taking my mom away from me. And because I had to be around him when all I wanted was time alone with her. The only time he was ever genuinely mean to me was when he called me an asshole for giving my mom that book. If I'm completely honest, part of me still hates him. Just not in the same way I used to. Maybe what I really hate is the version of him that exists in my head whenever I remember my parents' divorce. I don't know, it's difficult to explain. When I moved to Italy with my dad, I started missing my mom more than I expected to. I kept putting the blame on her husband, thinking that I would have had more time with her in Canada if he had never been there. But I try not to let myself think that way anymore, because I know it will only make me resent my mom again, and I'm exhausted from being angry with her. I'll never love or respect him the way I love and respect my stepmother, but whatever I feel about him, he does love my mom, he makes her happy and she loves him too. That has to matter, even if it took me a long time to accept it. Something else I wasn't honest about was how much I cried. I wrote about crying badly a few times, but the truth is that I cried way more than I ever admitted. I avoided mentioning it because I felt embarrassed, and even when I did admit to crying, I hated myself for being that honest. Looking back, I cried during most of the therapy sessions I had with my mom. I cried on the hikes, I cried when I told her I wanted to move to Italy, I cried during so many moments that I made sound calm and controlled afterward. I think I kept rewriting those memories in my head so I could pretend I was cool and unaffected, when really I was crying like a baby half the time. I also wrote that I didn't want to go on vacation with my mom because I wanted to visit universities in Italy with my stepmother instead. That wasn't true either. I really did want to go with my mom. I don't even remember why I made it sound like I didn't, because I went with her in the end, and it became one of the best trips I've ever had. My life has actually been good since I last wrote about all of this. I have a plan for my future now. I'm not constantly angry, bitter, or depressed anymore. My dad and my stepmother are officially married, and I've never seen him happier than he is with her. I love university. It is so much better than school, and sometimes it honestly feels like the best thing ever. I'm still completely shit at Sicilian, but everyone speaks Italian too, so it doesn't really matter. The reason all of this came back to me is because my mom and her husband had another baby in August. I flew in about a day after my mom got home from the hospital and stayed with them until I had to leave again. Then, pretty much last night in Canada, my girlfriend went to visit my mom. Yes, it's the same girlfriend I was with when I wrote all those old posts. Somehow we have made it work even though we're basically worlds apart. She took a picture with my new baby sister and sent it to me. I only saw it when I woke up around an hour and a half ago, but it brought all of this back. Seeing that picture made me think about everything that happened, and everything I used to feel. When I reread the first post, I noticed how many times I said that my mom and I only saw each other at birthdays, my games or other events because my sisters or her husband were always around. It's strange because at the time I wrote that, it felt like that period lasted forever. I never really tried to understand my mom or how hard it must have been for her to be away from my sisters, when they were so little. And it took her a long time, maybe too long, to understand why I only wanted time with her. But she kept trying until she finally understood, and I appreciate that more than I can explain now. The person I was back then expected perfection from my mom, but I probably would not have been happy, even if she had somehow given me everything I wanted. I remember feeling so guilty after I made my mom cry over that stupid book. I still feel a bit guilty about it, but I think I can forgive myself now, just like I can forgive her for not being as perfect as I expected her to be back then. I wish I hadn't spent so much time angry and sad. I wish I hadn't tried so hard not to enjoy being with my mom just because my stepfather and my sisters were there too. I wish I had understood that having fun, even if he was involved, did not mean I was suddenly okay with what happened, or that I had forgiven everything. I wish I had seen all the ways my mom tried to do better after the divorce. She tried to make up for breaking our family apart, and I was so focused on being hurt that I couldn't always see it, and I wish I had known it was okay to be angry and act out sometimes, because none of it was my fault. Maybe if I had realized that earlier, I would have understood what I actually wanted sooner. I was hurting myself by staying so upset all the time. My mom could see it, and seeing me like that hurt her too. Our relationship is so much better now. I love spending time with her without putting conditions on it because I really do not want to keep collecting regrets. When I move back to Canada for my master's degree, I'm going to live with her. I want her in my life. I want to eat her dinners again, watch television shows with her again, and just be a family. I know it will be different this time. Better, too, because now I actually want it to be. If there is any advice I can give, it is that if there is a way to make up for your regrets, then do it. Don't wait around and let them turn into something permanent. And I guess the last thing I need to say is that I really fucking hated reading that book. If I could go back in time, I would never give it to my mom. I would also erase every memory of reading it from my own head if I. It was even worse than the movie my girlfriend made me watch. Read Frankenstein instead if you can. Update 7. Then I noticed my old copy of Anna Karenina on the shelf behind them. It was not where my mom usually keeps her books. It was sitting by itself beside a framed picture of me from high school, and one of the pictures from Mother's Day when we went to Cactus Club with my sisters. I asked my girlfriend why she was at my mom's house so late. She said my mom had called because the baby would not settle down and her husband was working late. My girlfriend lives closer than most of my mom's friends, so she went over for a little while. Apparently my older sisters were already asleep, and my mom mostly just needed another person there. My girlfriend said my mom had been asking about me a lot. Not in a bad way. She was showing her videos of me speaking Italian with my stepmother's niece and nephew, which is embarrassing because apparently my accent still sounds Canadian. She also showed her a video from my university orientation where I was wearing this stupid shirt my dad bought me because he thought it made me look European. My girlfriend said my mom seemed proud of me. That should not have been a big deal, but it was. I think part of me still expects her to be sad whenever she thinks about me being in Italy. Maybe she is sad, but apparently she has been telling people that I am doing well there and that she is happy I found something I love. A few days later, I FaceTimed her. The baby was awake this time. She has a lot more hair than my other sisters did, and she makes this angry little face whenever someone stops holding her. My mom put her close to the camera and I said she looked like a tiny old man. My mom laughed so hard that she woke the baby up again. Then her husband came home. Normally when I'm talking to my mom, he says hi in the background and leaves us alone. This time, my mom handed him the baby because she said she needed both hands to make tea. He was holding her against his shoulder, patting her back, and he looked completely exhausted too. He asked how classes were going. I told him about one of my professors who keeps changing deadlines and pretending it is normal. He said that sounded like every manager he has ever had. It was a completely normal conversation. That was what made it weird. After my mom came back, her husband stayed on the call instead of leaving. He told me that my mom had been going through old boxes because they are running out of room in the house now that they have 3 kids. He found some of my old stuff from when I was little, including a plastic dinosaur I used to bring everywhere. I barely remembered it until he held it up to the camera. It was green except most of the paint had rubbed off its tail. My mom said I used to call it Rexy, which is not very original, but I was probably 4. Her husband said he found something else in the box too. Then he went off camera for a minute. When he came back he was holding a stack of papers folded in half. My mom immediately told him not to show me those. She looked more embarrassed than I have seen her in a long time. He said it was fine but she kept saying no. I asked what they were. My mom would not answer at first. Then she said they were letters she wrote to me after she left, when I was still refusing to come over much. I thought she meant birthday cards or something, but she said no. She meant actual letters. She said she wrote them after therapy sometimes or when she missed me, but she never gave them to me because she thought they would make everything worse. Her husband said there were a lot of them. My mom took the papers from him and held them against her chest. She said she did not know whether I should read them now, because some of them were from when I was really angry, and she was scared of saying the wrong thing. Update 8. She did not answer right away. She just kept holding the papers and looking down at them. Her husband had gone quiet too. I think he realized he had accidentally started something my mom had spent years trying to avoid. My mom said she wanted to read through them first because she did not remember exactly what she wrote. She said some of them were from the worst time after the divorce, when she was barely sleeping and did not know what she was doing. I told her that was okay. I did not want her to change them or rewrite anything. I just wanted to know what she had wanted to say to me. She asked if I was sure. I said yes, even though I was not completely sure. The next day she texted me that she had found 23 letters. Some were only a page, a few were much longer. She had also found drawings and cards I had made for her when I was little, including one where I apparently drew our whole family as stick figures, and gave my dad a mustache even though he did not have one. She said she could mail the letters to Italy, but I told her to scan them instead. I did not want them getting lost somewhere between Canada and Sicily. She started sending them that night. The first one was dated a few months after she moved out. I was 11. It was written on lined paper from some kind of notebook, and she had crossed out so many words that parts of it were hard to read. She kept writing that she did not know how to explain adult problems to a kid without making them sound like excuses. She said she missed hearing me run down the stairs in the morning. She said she was scared that every time I came over would be the last time I agreed to come. There was one part where she wrote that she had bought my favorite cereal for her house even though I had only stayed overnight twice by then. She wrote that it went stale in the cupboard, because she kept saving it in case I came back. I had to stop reading for a while after that. The second letter was worse. It was from around the time I stopped answering her calls. She wrote that she knew I had every right to be angry, but that she was scared I would grow up thinking she left because I was not enough. She wrote that I was the best thing she had ever done, which sounds corny, but she wrote it 3 times in different ways. Then I noticed something strange. At the bottom of the letter there was a line that had been written over so hard that the paper was almost torn. I adjusted the brightness on my phone and could sort of make it out. It said that she had tried to come to one of my hockey games, but my dad had told her not to because I did not want her there. I do not remember that at all. I called my mom immediately, but she did not pick up. A few minutes later, she texted me that she was putting the baby down and would call after. While I was waiting, I opened the next letter.